We'll start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. We are studying Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 with Shankara Bashyam. In this portion, Shankaracharya introduces the 10th verse of the second chapter. For that, he writes a long commentary, but before that, he gives a summary of 57 verses. 47 verses of first chapter and 10 verses of the second chapter. So right now, what we are studying is the summary portion of 57 verses, the way Shankaracharya has summarized it. It's a very long summary. We have started the Bashyam in the last 2 weeks. And then today we are going to continue where we stopped last week. For those who are completely new to Bhagavad Gita, I want to introduce two terms, Sanskrit terms. One is Atma, another is Anatma. Try to understand these two terms because throughout Bhagavad Gita, we are going to study two things. What is Atma? What is Anatma? You have already gone through Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha. For those people who have already gone through, they will have a fairly good background to Atma, Anatma. But suppose you have not done Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, then this small introduction will be useful. Atma means my real nature. Anatma means my incidental nature. According to Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, we all are immortal from the point of view of Atma. Body, mind, and the worldly experiences we have is taken as Anatma. So what is Atma? What is Anatma? Atma is my real nature. I am immortal. I have no birth. I have no death. Anatma means my incidental nature for maybe 100 years. The body comes, body goes. I have waking state, dream state, sleep state. I go through experiences of sukham and dukkham, sorrow and joy. And throughout the life, 100 years just pass by like that. The bottom line is I am either sorrowful or joyful during the life. But that personalized anatma is not my real nature. The spiritual content in this body is the final substratum which I should understand very clearly. It takes a long time. We study 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. We study Upanishads, 10 Upanishads. All to understand I am Atma. I am immortal. I don't have death. But how does your intellect understand this fact? Is the study of Bhagavad Gita. So keep this at the back of your mind all the time. Whenever we study anything in spiritual area, especially the Veda. If you have understood this, let's now go directly to where we stopped last week. Today, I'll be going a little bit faster. We have to cover a very big portion, almost like, for this introduction itself, it's about 350 pages. So, what I will be doing is giving you a broad view, and then we'll go through the pages, no doubt, but will not go through each and every word. Wherever it is important, I will highlight those points. We are in the revision portion of the summary of chapter 1. Summary of chapter 1 is 47 verses, and summary of the first 10 verses is the total summary in this section. Atma Ajnanam is samsara karanam. I don't know this Atma, which I just introduced to you, which is immortal, which is always there, which is changeless by nature. I don't know that. Therefore, I have sorrow in life. So, what is the solution for the sorrow? Whether it is Arjuna's sorrow or my sorrow or anybody else's sorrow. The only solution according to the Shastra is Jnanam. What Jnanam? Atma Jnanam. Atma is the spiritual content which is ever there. The world which we experience comes and goes, comes and goes. In the waking state, I experience the world. In the dream state, another world I experience. In the sleep state, I don't have any experience of the world. I don't have even experience of sorrow or joy. The question Lord Krishna is asking is, what is your real nature? And for that only, the entire Bhagavad Gita was taught. So this is the hidden idea. What is the hidden idea? In order to get moksha, moksha means what? Freedom from sorrow. Attainment of happiness. So freedom from sorrow, how do I get it? From Atma Jnana. Now, this is the thesis. Shankaracharya, during his time, he had an opponent who always used to argue with him. See, in the field of philosophy, there is something called as Purva Pakshi. Purva Pakshi means opposite philosopher. So, at that time, there is a philosopher called Ekadeshi philosopher. Vedanta Ekadeshi. They have a different view after studying the same Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. When you study the Shastra, which is Gita and Upanishads, you need to find out what is the central message. Veda has got Veda Purva portion, which is discussing all the rituals and how I can have my desires fulfilled in the world. That is the Veda Purva portion. Very, very huge portion called as Karma Kanda. Veda Anta portion. So Veda Purva portion is always dealing with Dvaitam. I and the world. That is called as Dvaitam. Dvaitam means it is dual. So is duality the central theme or non-duality the central theme? Veda Anta portion deals with non-duality, which talks about Atma. And Atma is non-dual. Non-dual means there is only one Atma. In this entire universe, there is only one Atma. Your Atma, my Atma, everybody's Atma is only one. It appears different. In the sleep state, what I exist as what? As Atma. Pure in nature, no sorrow, no joy. I don't even know I am there. I means ahamkara. Ahamkara means I notion which comes whenever we wake up or whenever we are dreaming or when we are sleeping. But beyond this waker, dreamer, sleeper, is there something which is beyond all these three? And Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, they reveal to us that there is something which is non-dual, and that is what is the subject matter of Veda Anta portion, end portion of Veda. So, Shankaracharya refutes this Ekadeshi Vadi. Ekadeshi means the Purva Paksha, the opponent, who says karma is the most important part of the entire Veda. Even Atma, he takes it as you meditate on Atma, not that Atma exists by itself. He converts Atma also as meditation. By that, what he says, that means it is only karma and karma and karma, whether it is Veda Purva, Veda Anta, it is only talking about Dvaitam. So what does he say? Purva Pakshi says, Jnanam and karma have to be combined. You have Jnanam, no doubt. But then it is to be combined with karma. And that combination will give you moksha. What does Shankaracharya say? Combination means what? You are a doer of action. At the same time, you are a non-doer of action, karta and akarta. Atma means it is ever akarta. Akarta means it never does any action because it doesn't have any body and mind intrinsically. So opposite attributes, they cannot coexist like light and darkness. Either you have light or you have darkness. So Shankaracharya says, either you are a karta, a doer, as in the body is acting. So you take yourself as the body, that is karta. Akarta means you take, don't look at the body, look at the spiritual content, the consciousness, the awareness. So the basic argument of Advaitin is kartrutvam, doership, is not real. It is an appearing phenomena. See, ultimately we want to know who am I, not in one state. In the waking state alone, if you say, yes, I'm doing so many things in life. I'm cooking, I'm running, I'm studying, I'm working, so many things. So Advaitin says, don't look at only the waking state. Also check what is that sleep state. So in the sleep state, there's no kartrutva, bhava is not there. And then you look at what the Veda Anta portion is saying. Veda Anta portion, Upanishad says in the sleep state, you are Atma. Chandogya Upanishad, beautiful section comes in the 6th chapter, Tattvamasi chapter. You are that. In that chapter, the 8th section, the very first mantra, which starts with Tattvamasi, it says, you are that Atma. Which Atma? Atma which you are when you are sleeping. At that time, you are already one with the universal God, or whatever you may call it, Brahman. You're already merging with the totality. So that is your real swarupam. Kartrutvam, which you see in the waking state, kartrutvam means what? Doership. It is mithya. Mithya means something which is experienced, but it is not real. What is the best example of mithya? Rope snake. The rope is there, but I take that rope as snake because of error in my understanding. So similarly, Atma is there and waking state is there. Atma is my real nature. I'm taking that real nature, the rope, as the waker or the dreamer or the sleeper. Waker, dreamer, sleeper is to do with the body and mind. But Atma is beyond the body and mind. That is what is called as Satyam. It is called as the ultimate truth of my existence. Then Shankaracharya says, another argument he puts it. See, in this whole section, up to for another 200 slides, you will find a lot of arguments. In the end, towards the end, I will summarize some of these arguments. So another point he says is, I am a grihastha. I am a householder. Now, how can I be akarta? Akarta means non-doer, because akarta, Shankaracharya says, is not from your vyavaharika drishti. Vyavaharika drishti means your transactional field, you are a karta. But from a higher plane, like waker and dreamer, waker is higher compared to dreamer. Similarly, from the waking standpoint, above the waker, there is something called as Atma. That Atma, we call it as Paramarthikam, absolute nature, real nature. Compared to dream, waker is real. Compared to waker, Atma is real. And Atma is my absolute nature. In the presence of that awareness, consciousness principle, another thing which you should remember is whenever we talk about Atma, you should remember consciousness or awareness. Atma is a Sanskrit word. But how do you translate in English? Consciousness or awareness. So awareness is my real nature. I appear to be with this body in the waking state and in another with some other body in the dream state. So coexistence is possible. As a karta, it is at a lower plane. Vyavaharika drishti. Mithya nature. Mithya means appearance. Dream world is an appearance. It's one movie. Waking state is another appearance, another movie. But who am I? I am the screen. I am the screen in which both the movies are seen. The screen can always exist with the movie. Mirage water can exist with dry sand. Rope snake can exist with rope. So coexistence of a waker and a super waker is possible. Whenever we talk about waker or dreamer, it is a finite consciousness. Consciousness conditioned by the body-mind instrument. Whenever we talk about Atma, it is unconditional. It is pure. It is infinite in nature. It is not bound by time. Body, mind is bound by time. You're born, you're gone. So you have waking state, you have sleep state. Time bound. But Atma is there, whether you are in waking, dream, or sleep, as the screen, you are always there. Even before the birth of the body, Lord Krishna will teach us, Atma is there. That is why you are immortal. So Jnanam and Karma, according to the Purva Pakshi, he takes it because he doesn't have two orders of reality. For him, Atma is also right now in the waking state, and also body, mind is also in the waking state. For him, there is no higher reality. He doesn't consider waking and dream as two different realities. He takes them as Vyavaharika Satya. So that is the problem. So Kartrutvam and Akartrutvam are of the same equal degree of reality. So that is the first argument. So therefore, we cannot accept Kevala Jnanam and what Shankaracharya says, they are of a higher order of reality. That is his first argument of Shankaracharya. The second argument of Shankaracharya is the candidate. Candidate is for karma is a grihastha. For jnanam, according to Purva Pakshi, it is only sannyasis can have jnana. But Shankaracharya will refute that. He will say that even grihastha can get jnana. Now, the candidate called as a grihastha promotes possessions, obligatory duties, relationships, and transactions. In short, it is called as port. I'll be using this term port during these presentations. So whenever we say port, you should remember P stands for possessions. So Grihastha is always looking at his possessions. He is a karma yogi. He is a karta. Then he has got duties, compulsory duties, obligations. O. R is relationships. Grihastha has got so many relationships. And then he does a lot of transactions. So a Grihastha's life is always promoting more and more possessions, more relationships, more transactions. That is one type of candidate. So karma yoga is meant for Grihastha. Jnana yoga, the candidate for Jnana yoga is what? He has already seen all the problems connected with Grihastha lifestyle. He wants to know if there is anything else which is there in life. So sometimes some candidates will take to sannyasi. They will say, we want to focus and then study the scriptures. So the candidate who is going after Atma is different, has got a different mindset compared to the candidate who is going for the Grihastha lifestyle. So since candidates' lifestyles are different, no combination is possible. You cannot tell a sannyasi you do karma because he has no karma. He has given up the karma to study. And this particular verse is the central portion of this entire 200 pages of notes. Lokesmin dvidha nishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. Here Lord Krishna talks about twofold path. One is called as Sankhya and the other is called as Yoga. Sankhya means Jnana Yoga. Yoga means Karma Yoga. He gives two technical terms here. So, a sannyasi will go towards Jnana Yoga And he knows that jnanam alone can give moksha. There was recently a question in the WhatsApp group, chat group. We have a chat group for Bhagavad Gita. And there one of the beautiful questions which was asked is, what about the other margas? Bhakti marga, Kundalini yoga, pilgrimages, japa, chantings, uh, so many other margas are there. Are those margas, can they give moksha directly? Shankaracharya says those margas are very important. They are stepping stones for coming to jnana yoga. Suppose you do bhakti yoga very well. We have one beautiful chapter, chapter 12 on bhakti yoga in Bhagavad Gita. All the details about bhakti are given in that chapter. But the central teaching is what in that chapter? Bhakti is important. It is not separate from karma yoga and jnana yoga. Bhakti is there in jnana yoga. Bhakti is there in karma yoga. Bhakti is intertwined between all the yogas. So don't take bhakti for moksha. What gives really the moksha, when you study the Upanishads especially, you will understand why Shankaracharya insists on jnanam and jnanam and jnanam. Jnanam alone gives moksha. There are Kaivalya Upanishad says that uh, uh, you can't get moksha through progeny. You can't get moksha through wealth. Then the question asked by the student is, how can you get moksha then? Moksha is only when you study under a guru who explains to you the Mahavakyam, Tattvamasi. Very, very beautifully, Bhagavad Gita Upanishads teach us, I am Brahma Swarupaha. I am of a higher order of reality. So that is the similar question which Purva Pakshi is asking here. So then Purva Pakshi comes out with many arguments. He says there are so many vakyams in the Bhagavad Gita which talks about karma, but then you say karma is not useful for moksha. Shankaracharya again reminds him, karma is a step. It's a stepping stone. You cannot discard karma yoga. It is a stepping stone to come to jnana. In the second chapter, in the 33rd verse, Lord Krishna says, you must fight Arjuna because war is your duty. As a Kshatriya, it is your sadharma. It is like performing the Panchamaha Yajna. One of the yajnas is you do your duty towards the country. If you don't do your duty, it can be to the country, it can be to your parents, it can be to your brother or sister or your children. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have a right to do your duty. Don't look for what I will get after performing the duty. Whatever you get. Karma phalam is not dependent on your karma. It depends on many factors which are connected to prarabdha karma. So, doing karma, you have no choice. Everybody has to do karma. But how I treat that karma, I have a choice. The karma phalam I get, I have a choice. I accept it as a prasada. So, renunciation of your duty should not be done at any time. Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter also talks in the same way. there are two types of karmas: Shrauta karma and Smarta karma. Both are compulsory for moksha. Compulsory means they are all compulsory as a stepping stone. You cannot avoid them and then suddenly jump to Jnana Yoga. So Purva Pakshi says because there is Veda Vihita karma, means Veda Vihita means there is a commandment to do Agnihotram, this. How can you say that karma is not useful for moksha? That is what is Purva Pakshi, his argument. And then he also has another argument. He says that in the Veda it says ahimsa should be followed. But then why are you asking Arjuna to fight? Why are you asking? Why is it even fighting a war involves violence? But then this is how the opponent argues. This is also Arjuna's question. The way he asked the question, why should I do? Why should I fight? Kill my own guru and family members. So for which Shankaracharya says, there is a general Vedic rule of ahimsa and there is a apavada. There is a special rule. For example, ambulance, police cars, fire engines, they can break the traffic signal and go straight without any problems. If you and I cross the traffic signals, we'll get a fine. So there is a samanya ahimsa paramo dharmaha. It is a samanya rule, general rule. The apavada is if duty is there for you, for example, if a policeman kills, it is because of his duty he may have killed. It is not called as murder. Similarly, a doctor, while operating a patient, the patient may survive, he may die, but then he is doing his duty. So similarly, Kshatriya has to protect his kingdom and he has to perform his duty. This is a very tricky verse. Karmanya akarma yapashet akarmani cha karmaya sabuddhiman manusheshu sayukta krishna karmakrita. This is a very tricky verse in Bhagavad Gita. It is also coming in the chat group discussions, but I'll just mention to you, whenever we talk about inaction, it is always from the standpoint of Atma. Whenever we talk about action, it is always with reference to the body-mind ahamkara. So a wise man in this 4th chapter, in the 18th verse, Lord Krishna says, a wise person, a jnani, is one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction. He is a true performer of all actions. That means what? While doing my karma or duty, I should know I am the Atma, which is of a higher order of reality. From the Atma standpoint, I don't do any action at all. Atma is a karta. Body, mind is a karta. It is a doer of action. So Shankaracharya quotes the 13th chapter, 8th verse, where he says, Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa Shantirarjavam, Acharyopasanam Shaucham, Sthairyamatva Vinigraha. Here, why he quotes this? Because he says that doing duty with humility is what is prescribed in the Bhagavad Gita. There is another verse in the 18th, 2nd chapter, 18th verse. Antavanta ime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmad yudyasva bharata. What I told you in the beginning, Atma is immortal. It is indestructible. It has no death. Even when the body is burnt, Atma survives. Even if there is an atom bomb or a nuclear explosion, nothing happens to Atma because it is always there. That is what is described as Atma's nature. So, coming back to our discussions here, ahimsa is a general rule. The exception is for a Kshatriya, violence will be involved. Therefore, fight. This is one of the ways Shankaracharya argues with the opponent. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavavi yuge yuge. Whenever there is unrighteousness in the world, Lord Krishna says, I will be born again to control the unrighteousness. Dharma, adharma. Dharma, adharma is in which field? In the Vyavaharika field. So in the Vyavaharika field, Lord Krishna also has to do actions. He is a grahastha, jnani. So, giving up kamya karma or giving up your regular karmas is not advisable. So that is what is one of the arguments here about ahimsa and himsa. Vedantin should do all karmas to attain moksha. Now the next section, 34 to 40. Now 34 to 40, I'll just give you a rundown on. You see, I told you there are 8 topics. Last week I told you there are 8 topics. We have finished 22 to 30, 31 to 33. We have finished 2 sections. 2 sections out of the 8 sections for the introduction to the second chapter and the first chapter. So now we are coming to the third section. Here, basically, he talks of 34 to 40. He talks about Sankhya and Yoga. What is Sankhya and what is Yoga? Which I introduced just now. Sankhya means Jnana Yoga and Yoga means Karma. So, what is the earlier I told you about the 2 lifestyles. Port Pradhana means Karma Yoga. Port Renunciation means Jnana Yoga. So 2 different infrastructures and 2 different ashramas will be required for the 2 candidates. I am Karta, I am Akarta, all of you know. So suppose you know Bhagavad Gita. You will still do karmas, you will still do actions in life, you will take care of your family, you will be a grihastha, jnani. But in your mind, what will you think? In your mind, what will be the tambura which will be playing? I am the awareness, consciousness principle. If you are a jnana yogi, suppose you are a karma yogi, you will be in the ahamkara pradhana lifestyle. Ahamkara, all of us, before we start our spiritual journey, we are ahamkara pradhana. Ahamkara means what? It is the same Atma which appears with a reflection inside the body and mind. So whenever Atma appears in the waking state, dream state, sleep state, it is with a reflection. Atma has got a reflection. And reflection is not in everything in the world. A stone does not have a reflection. A mind has a reflection because it is a very subtle matter. Like a mirror. Only in front of a mirror, if you go and stand, you will get a reflection. So, when that pure Atma, which is always free from the body-mind complex, when we experience our waking state, dream state, sleep state, we get a reflection of that Atma in our mind. And then what happens? It activates the body to act. So when we start our spiritual journey, we are all Agyanis. Agyani means what? We don't know that that is my real nature. What is my real nature? Atma. What is Atma? It never does anything at all. It is only presence. So that is what is being explained here. Uh, so, uh, so with this point I have covered before. Purva Pakshi says in the Bhagavad Gita, there are very few verses. I mean, out of 700 verses, Purva Pakshi is saying, you see, majority of the verses are dealing with Karma Yoga. 3 chapters, 12, chapter 13, 14, 15. Predominantly is Jnana Yoga chapters. So, and balance 15 chapters is all talking about karma only. So why you say that karma is not so important? That is his argument. And then he talks about the nishtha. Nishtha means lifestyle. Grihastha has got a karma lifestyle. Port pradhana. Port pradhana means predominantly karma. A sannyasi will be predominantly studying Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam. What about us, people like us? We are grihasthas. We are also doing our work and we are also studying. So as we study, what will happen? I will not change my duties. I will still continue to be a grihastha, but in my mind, I will say, I have the knowledge of Atma, that is my ultimate nature. So, another point which is given out by Shankaracharya is Buddhi Vedaha. Buddhi means intellect. Buddhi also means knowledge. In Bhagavad Gita, Shankaracharya uses in his Bashyam Buddhi as knowledge, jnana. So there are two distinct knowledges, and karma is knowledge is different, jnana knowledge is different. Purva Pakshi is saying the knowledge in two are totally different. How can you say both are? How can you say that jnanam is predominant is pradhanam compared to karma, and jnanam is the central teaching? How do you say? Because they cannot coexist simultaneously. This we have discussed before also. Kartrutvam, akartrutvam. Shankaracharya's point is kartrutvam and akartrutvam can exist simultaneously because one is a higher order of reality, another is of a lower order of reality. Ahamkara is lower. Sakshi is higher. So in a bright room, outside is bright, but you may be sleeping. You may be sleeping in darkness. But in the dream, you may be having sunlight, bright sunlight. You are playing on cricket or something. So you see, but because the two orders are real different, you can have brightness in the dream, you can have darkness in the bed outside. So this I, which is can be a karta, it can be akarta. It can be akarta if it is a paramarthika satyam. At a higher level of nature, I myself can be akarta. Akarta means I'm not a doer of action. In my presence, actions takes place. Who does the action? Body and mind. Whenever the body-mind action is taking place, it is in the Vyavaharika transactional plane. So the central portion of Gita from the 11th verse onwards, we are going to discuss up to the second chapter, 30th verse, the Jnana Yoga portion, which is the Atma portion, which is the real nature of the self. Very beautiful section. The central teaching of the Bhagavad Gita lies in this second chapter, 11th verse till the 30th verse, which I think we may start after 2-3 sessions. In the next 2-3 sessions, I will complete this. I'll try and finish up this introduction before that. And that Atma is, just to give you an idea, it is Panchakosha Vyatirikta. Again, Tathobodha. Atma is not, it is beyond the 5 koshas. Why we say beyond the 5 koshas? Because it is transcendental. Another word which we use, Paramarthikam. Nothing affects Atma at all. There are 7 features of Atma which we will be studying in those verses from 12 to 30, second chapter. These are all just some idea for you to understand the nature of Atma. Atma is Nityaha. These are Sanskrit terms which I will be explaining again and again as we study Bhagavad Gita. And these terms, if you are a newcomer, these terms, you just keep it in mind. These 7 terms, write it down somewhere and always remember what those meanings are. Because that is what will give you moksha. Continuous remembrance of these 7 terms gives you the freedom from identification with the body as I. Nityaha means I am eternal, immortal. I am not affected by time. What is not affected? Atma. That is its nature. You see, like I have a body, the heart is beating, my mind is thinking, producing thoughts. It is its nature. The sun is shining. It's nature. Stone cannot, it doesn't have a mind. Nature. So what is it? There is something else in this world which exists, which I don't know. By knowing that and by identifying to that, I can be free from this body-mind identification. That is the central message. That is what gives me the freedom. And when we do the meditation on these 7 terms, automatically you will get the central theme in your own mind. These 7 terms are for one to, first of all, understand. Second is, you should then try to apply. How can Veda says I am immortal? Because the Veda is not talking to me about the body, not about the mind. That is one. Satya. Satya means it is the truth. Akarta, it is the final truth. Ultimate truth of the world is I am immortal. I am Atma. This Atma is Akarta. It never does any action. In its presence, I only illumine the body and mind to act. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. Another very famous mantra in Upanishads. In my presence means in the presence of consciousness, awareness, all actions will take place in the world. Abhokta. Suppose I am not a doer of action, then I am not an enjoyer of action. As what? As Atma, not as body. So we have to transcend from being the body to being the Atma. That is the study of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvajnaha. Sarvajnaha means this Atma is all pervading. There is nowhere in the whole cosmos this Atma is not there. In that awareness only, this entire world is appearing and disappearing. In the sleep, this world doesn't appear. For me, for this ahamkara, which is asking, who am I? This is nirvikaraha. Nirvikaraha means it doesn't modify. Body is changing. Mind is continuously changing. World outside is continuously changing. But there is something which is not changing. That is Atma. And this Atma is Ekaha. Ekaha means it is one. Universal consciousness. So this Atma cannot act, it cannot change. That is the law of this creation. Sankhya, Buddhi, Sankhya means Jnana Yoga, and Yoga means Karma Yoga. So this 11 to 30 portion is what I just described as the 7 features of Atma. And here he starts introducing 3 terms, and then he about the 3 terms related to Jnanam is Sankhya, Sankhya Buddhi, and Sankhyaha. Sankhyaha means Atma Jnani. These 3 terms are there in the Bhashyam. I just want to highlight, suppose you are reading the Bhashyam on your own, you must know the 3 words. There are 3 words used for Jnana Yoga, 3 words used for Karma Yoga. So Sankhya means Atma. Sankhya Buddhi means Atma Jnanam. Sankhya means Atma Jnani. So one deals with the substance called as Atma. Another deals with the knowledge of Atma, Sankhya Buddhi. And the third is Sankhya, means a person who is identified himself as Atma, that is Atma Jnana. Similarly, for the karma portion, yoga means karma. In this particular context, yoga means union normally. Here in this context, yoga means karma. Yoga buddhi means karma buddhi. Yogi means karmi, a person who does the karma. And now the next portion which he is talking about is what is Vaidika karma, and which is based on Veda Purva portion. Vaidika karma also requires a type of jnana, which is different from Atma Jnana. You also need jnanam for doing Vaidika karma. What is the jnanam? The jnanam in Vaidika karma is that there is something which is there in this body, which is different than the body. I'm talking about Veda Purva portion, the ritualistic portion. What is the knowledge contained in the Veda Purva portion? There is a soul which leaves this body and it takes another body. That is the knowledge. Therefore, you do all the rituals. All the rituals are meant for that Atma, which is, we'll call it in our study group here as the soul, which is the reflected consciousness plus the mind, which is called as Ahamkara. Ahamkara is not a part of the body. Ahamkara is different. It can travel. It takes another body, rebirth, reincarnation. So what do we do? The physical body, gross body, we can burn or we can cremate. We cremate or we can bury it. But what continues after death? This is the knowledge of the karma yogis who are doing rituals. Like sending the soul to Swarga. 13 days karma is required for the children. So all this talks about a Chidabhasa, a reflected Atma, traveling Atma. Pratibimba Chaitanya Atma. Pratibimba means reflected consciousness. Punya Papa Karma Atma. Associated with the Veda Purva portion. So, whenever we talk Veda Purva means it talks about Atma. There is something. Veda Purva also discusses about Atma. But that Atma is about the Ahankara Atma. Whereas Veda Anta portion talks about the original consciousness. It talks about the Bimba Chaitanyam, Akarta Atma. It never does any time, at any time, right? That is the nature of, we can say, God. It is the nature of Paramatma. It is the nature of the substratum of the universe. During Vedika karma, which Atma we focus? We never focus on the original consciousness, which is Bimba Chaitanya. Vedika karma depends on a karta. We take a vow at the beginning of any ritual, whether it is marriage ritual or thread ceremony ritual or just a simple Agni Hotra at home. Always we take a vow at the beginning. I am a karta. I want certain phalams. From this ritual, I want putram or I want marriage. I want this. I want wealth. So it is a karta is involved. There is a karma being performed and there is a knowledge that there is something beyond the body. So Atma number one is the Ahamkara Pratibimba Chaitanya. Atma number two is the real Atma, the pure consciousness, which is not a reflection, which is what I am in my sleep state. I go back and merge in with the Paramatma, with the original consciousness. Veda teaches me that is my real nature. This is my incidental nature. A person who has that knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, correct knowledge, you must have clarity in the knowledge. Then only moksha will come. Your intellect should be able to accept with full clarity that that is my Swarupam. It can never change. Swarupam is something which is changeless. That is why we call it as Swarupam. So, different groups are there, Port group and Port Rahita group. Port Rahita group is the Atmajnanis. Port group is the Samsaris. So, this is a revision portion. I've already discussed all this. So, this is what we have discussed one or two sessions before. This is just a revision portion. So, Karma Pradhana, Jnana Pradhana, I told you we have discussed what is Port. Sankhya Buddhi, we have discussed. Yoga Buddhi, we have discussed. Two types of Jnanam, Atma Jnanam. One Jnanam is Chidabhasa Jnanam. Chidabhasa means what? The consciousness has got a reflection in the mind. Chaitanyam associated with the mind is called as Ahamkara. All the karmas, Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, Agami karma is related to this Chidabhasa. Chit never does karma. Therefore, Chit is always free. So, I am the reflected consciousness together with the mind and the body. Body I can drop. Because by logic itself, I know that it doesn't survive, therefore I am not that. Then next comes in the mind. Inside the mind, there is consciousness. I have to have the intellectual capability to separate the consciousness from the mind, which we learn. When we learn, when we practice meditation, our mind will understand I am the awareness. Mind is incidental. It has thoughts, but it is always changing. So once I'm able to segregate the mind with the reflected consciousness, then it becomes easy for me to understand that the reflected consciousness merges with the original consciousness. Every day in my sleep, it merges. So Brahma Anubhava, we all have. Atma Anubhava, experience of Atma, we all have. But we don't know more details about that Atma. We need two type of knowledges. One is Deha Vyatirikta Karta Atma. There is another Atma which is Akarta. Karta Atma, I told you, is Ahamkara. So Ahamkara, if suppose you keep on believing, I am the doer of action, I will get the result of action. The more karma you do, the more you reinforce, and therefore you will take another birth. Suppose you start believing, I'm not this ahamkara, ego. Another word for ahamkara is ego. I'm not the ego, which keeps on coming. Ego is just a notion. It's only an I notion. Whenever we wake up, we get the I notion. I am this, and that I notion is a reflection. Without the I notion, I exist or not? Yes. In sleep, I exist without the I notion. And that is what is called as Atma. And that is what is the question of Nachiketa in Kathopanishad. For those people who are in this group who are studying Gita Bashyam now, if you have done Kathopanishad, this is the question a 9-year-old boy is asking the Guru, Yamadharma Raja. The Lord of Death is asking, tell me something which is beyond dharma and adharma. Dharma and adharma is in the Vyavaharika field. Is there something called as Paramarthika Satyam? Is there anything beyond time? Bhutacha Bhavyacha. Bhutam and Bhavitam is with reference to the body-mind. Only when there is a body-mind experience, you will get time experience. When there is no body-mind experience, there is timelessness. And that timelessness is Atma. So that is the side point about the Atma and Anatma. So three definitions: Janmana Parka Yoga, Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Apeksha Yoga, Dharma Dharma Prak Yoga. These are just technical terms used by Shankaracharya. So what is the moksha sadhana? Moksha sadhana means what is the discipline I should follow? One is a direct discipline. Jnanam. Jnanam consists of listening, meditating, contemplating, and jnana nishtha, which means owning whatever I have learned. I learn in the Bhagavad Gita, I am Atma. In my mind, I churn the idea. Can I be the Atma, or am I the Ahamkara, the body mind? Is this my real nature? Or is this what Gita is teaching me? I am consciousness, awareness. Is that my real nature? You keep on churning in your mind. That is called as manana. And the nididhyasanam is the third step, where you say, yes, I now know, I'm convinced that I am Atma, and then you live the life of Atma. While living here, And that is what is called as freedom. Moksha means while living in this body, I know I am not this body. Body and mind are incidental appearances in consciousness. Ahamkara, which has taken birth, is based on Purva Janma Punya Papa. A question might come into your mind. What is this Ahamkara which I am experiencing? If I am Atma, why should I experience this? The answer given by Shankaracharya is that Ahamkara is the one which is a cycle. There is no first birth, there is no last birth. It's an endless birth going on. You do karma, you get body. You have a body, you do karma. You get again, you do karma, you get a body. It is a cycle. It's an endless cycle. And what is moksha? Coming out of that cycle is moksha. This cycle is explained to us by the Bhagavad Gita, Veda Pura portion. Vedanta tells us how to come out of the cycle of birth and death, which is the central essence of Bhagavad Gita study. So the discussion Shankaracharya keeps on emphasizing, you cannot combine karma yoga with jnana yoga. You do karma yoga first, understand, purify the mind with karma yoga. Come to then next step is, once the mind is purified, come to jnana yoga. In the second chapter, we are going to talk about ahamkara jnanam and atma jnana. Both jnanams cannot be entertained at the same time. Suppose you become a jnani, then what happens? You will remain as a jnani throughout your life. What happens to the karma which you perform after having jnanam? In the third chapter, Shankaracharya says that karma which you do after jnanam, it is for loka sangraha. It is called as karma abhasa. We will study the details in the third chapter. Shankaracharya writes a long commentary on that. So when you say, I am facing problems in life, that means what? You are predominantly talking about being this body-mind complex. Suppose you say, I am Atma, you started learning about Atma, I am pure consciousness. In awareness only, this body is coming. I have understood this waking, dream, and sleep. It's a phenomena which appears in consciousness. Suppose you have this knowledge, then what happens? You are a jnani. Many people study for 25 years. Bhagavad Gita, they have done 10 times. But jnanam has not really come and percolated in their mind. Many people, they have done many times. I mean, I know of many seekers. The main problem is I have not understood Atma correctly. If I understand Atma correctly, right in one first time you do Gita, you will be a Mukta Purusha. It's a guarantee by Lord Krishna and Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya's commentary on the second chapter is amazing. You see when we do this, when we start the 12th verse onwards, you'll see the importance of this study. So this portion we have already gone through. Port Pradhana and Port Rahitaha, we have seen relationships also, I have told you. See, as mind, I am related. Suppose I identified in my normal day-to-day life, I am a father, I'm a wife, I'm a son. But then what is the real nature? Nirvana Shatkam. It says that you're not the body or mind. You have no death. As Atma, as awareness, awareness is not a father, is not a mother. Suppose even now you sit and meditate, just close your eyes and say, I am Atma. And that Atma, does it have a relationship? No, it is pure awareness. What has a relationship? The moment I identify with the body or mind, mind is always looking outside in the world. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. So, Atma is something of a higher order. It is pure presence. Aham Akarta is a pure presence. Presence means it is a pure awareness principle. And it takes time for us to understand. That is why we say Jnana Nishtha is required. We require Sankhya Buddhi. See, this is where I'm using the terms, what I have explained to you. Sankhya Buddhi, a mindset of Sankhya, a mindset of Jnanam is different than Yoga Buddhi. Yoga Buddhi is a mindset. It's again a mindset where Ahamkara is involved. So wherever Ahamkara is there, there is Dvaitam. Wherever there is no Dvaitam, it is Atma. In sleep state, I am Advaitam or Dvaitam? Advaitam, non-dual state. I exist. In waking state, it is Dvaitam or not Dvaitam. So in the waking state, it is what? Ahankara. In the dream state, is it Dvaitam or Advaitam? Dvaitam. Dreamer and dream world. Waker and waker world. In the sleep state, neither there is a waker, there is neither a sleeper, neither a sleeping world, nothing is there. That is non-duality, Advaitam. So Advaitam is the real nature. Dvaitam is a appearance in that consciousness, which is Advaita. Shankaracharya clearly says, Lord Krishna does not teach combination of karma and jnana. See, all these topics, all this discussion is only for one purpose, to say that karma and jnanam cannot be combined. Whereas Purva Pakshi says it has to be combined, and a combined thing alone will give moksha. Next, we come to 41 to 45. In this portion, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is taken up, where karmas are mentioned for attaining different lokas. This is the verse number, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, chapter 4, 4th section, 22nd mantra. I will give you that mantra also. And here, three verses of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is quoted by Shankaracharya. One Upanishad which Shankaracharya uses in most of his Bhashyam, which we find it very difficult to study because this is a very, very big Upanishad. But for Shankaracharya, he uses left and right the mantras, quotes mantras, because for him, all the 10 Upanishadic mantras are at the back of his head. Fantastic memory. He can pick one verse directly from one Upanishad and then correlate with another Upanishad. And then in the context, he brings it into the context. So here, 3 mantras are being used. The first mantra is this 1516, which is quoted here. I will give you the details of all the mantras. Now, the central portion of this 41 to 45 section is that Veda is talking about karma. And Veda is talking about lokas, especially the Purva portion. Veda Purva Bhaga talks about Manushya Loka Pitruloka, Devaloka. Manushya Loka is Bhuloka, where we need children, so we do rituals. We know in the Manushya Loka, we do Shraddham, we do Tarpanam every month, we do Shraddham once a year. Pitruloka, okay, why do we do those Tarpanam and Shraddham for the forefathers who are ancestors? Why we do that? Earlier explained to you that we believe the ritualists, they believe there is a traveling Jivatma. For that traveling Jivatma to get a new body, that if you do the rituals, it will help the traveling Jivatma, the reflected consciousness with the mind, which travels. That reflected consciousness is there in the Swargaloka. So when you do the rituals, it will find a new lokas to go to. It can go to heaven, it can go to so many higher lokas. That is Pitru lokas. One is Manusha loka, second is Pitru loka, third is Deva loka. Deva loka means Brahma loka. Suppose you are very keen in doing upasana, you will be going to Deva loka. There you will get much, much better quality of mind to do more upasanas on devatas. Now, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad talks about these three lokas and the rituals which are there, karmas which are there to get the phalam in Manusha Loka, in Pitru Loka and Deva Loka. Through Putra, I can come back to this Bhuloka again. Through karma, I can get Pitruloka. Through Putra, I can get Bhuloka. Through karma, I can get Pitruloka. Through Upasana, I can get Brahmaloka. So, Lokatrayam and Sadhana Trayam. Sadhana means disciplines, rituals to follow. This is the other mantra which they quoted, 1417. I won't go too much into details of this. If you are interested, you can go through these notes. Okay, those three rituals what Shankaracharya says is, you have two options. Either you can become a grihastha or you become a sannyasi. If a person wants three lokas, Manushya Loka, Swargaloka, that is Pitru Loka or Brahma Loka, he has to get children. He has to do rituals, do karma and upasana samuchaya. Karma, upasana, samuchaya is possible because both are in the same field. Karma yoga, karma jnanam is not possible because jnanam is in a higher field. It talks about Atma. So, the fields are different. This is the third mantra of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So what we have to do is, Shankaracharya says, if you want the lokas, then you follow karma, upasana, and the other rituals. But if you're not interested in loka, okay, ultimately what in a higher loka, what will you get? You'll get a better body. But then that better body will give you better quality of, you will be a better karta bhokta. That's all. Karta bhokta means what? It is that you will enjoy better quality of life. But then, is that going to last forever? That is what Shankaracharya is asking. You can be a karma pradhana life throughout your life and never come to jnana. You will be again into these lokas with this thing, but the only thing is you are living an anityam. Every karma gives you karma phalam, which is anitya phalam. There is not a single karma which will give you nitya phalam. Nitya phalam means moksha. Moksha means complete fulfillment. I don't want to act at all. So by doing these karmas, what Shankaracharya says is, you are not going to really get moksha. That is what is the central lesson from these three Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So for those who don't want Manushya, Swarga or Brahmaloka, they will come to Jnana Yoga. And for them, once they come to Jnana Yoga, it is a different order of reality. Therefore, you can't combine karma and jnana. That is the view of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which Shankaracharya has taken up for analysis. So this is a little bit more detailed notes on this. Of basically, it only talks about the mindset of a lay person who is a grahastha or a brahmachari. They want wealth. They will do karma. They will do Agnihotram. They will do all those rituals for wealth, for this world, and so on. So, ananyatha means other people who are not interested in either the wealth of Manushya Loka or the divine wealth of Deva Lokas, like Brahma Loka. They suppose you don't want this wealth. Those are the people who will come to the study of Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, especially Shankaracharya's Bhashya, which segregates beautifully karma and jnanam as two different fields. Grihastha ashrama is meant for three anatma lokas. Anatma loka, they are not atma. Therefore, the conclusion is all Shrauta karma means rituals prescribed by the Veda. Smarta karmas means rituals prescribed by non-Vedic. Non-Vedic is Agama. Agama means puja, festival celebration. These are all Smarta karmas. They are not Shrauta karmas. Shrauta means rituals. Agni is involved in Shrauta karmas. So, a person takes the thread ceremony to perform these karmas. There are two types of sannyasas. It is not directly relevant to the study. It is also mentioned by Shankaracharya. One is Vividisha sannyasa. It is taken up to study the Shastra. A Vidvat sannyasa is one for doing nishtha, Atma nishtha. After the study, you want to focus fully on I am the Atma. That is called as Vidvat sannyasa. Normally, people take Vividisha sannyasa. This is just a side point Shankaracharya makes. So, basically, Shankaracharya gives four main reasons. So far, whatever we have discussed comes under these four topics. What are the four topics? Karma and jnana, they cannot be combined as suggested by Samuchayavada for moksha. Why? Because there is Purusha Veda. See, why I'm doing this study of the Bashyam is many people think by doing more and more karma, I will get moksha. That thought in your mind should drop. By doing karma, I cannot get moksha. How do I get moksha? Only by jnana. So, in order to get that complete grip of that knowledge, that jnanam is important for moksha, you must know this debate which Shankaracharya had with the Purvapakshi. So, how did he defeat the Purvapakshi? By giving him four main reasons. Purusha Veda, Buddhi Veda, Kala Veda, and Ashrama Veda. Purusha Veda means Jnanam is a different category. Karma is for yogis, jnanam is for sankhyas. Karma pradhana is a different type of a mindset where you want to. So, karma pradhana is ahamkara mindset, whereas sakshi pradhana is a jnana yogi mindset. Kala Beda, so I'm going, Purusha Beda means candidate is different. Buddhi Beda means mindset is different. Kala Beda means different time, different things you do. When you are karma pradhana, you do sadhanas and so on. So different conditions are required for karma. For jnanam, it is at a later point of life when you have done the karma, you have seen the effects of karma, then you understand the limitations of karma. When you understand the limitations of karma, then you come to jnana. So there is a time difference. There is we all start with karma, but ultimately we end in jnana. Samagri Bheda means ashrama Bheda. Ashrama Bheda means it is grihastha versus withdrawn lifestyle. Withdrawn means internally. See, whenever we talk about sannyasi in Bhagavad Gita, you must remember we are not talking about physical sannyasi. We are talking about internal mental renunciation. That is what will give you moksha. You continue. That is why Gita is taught to grihasthas. Upanishads can be learned by grihasthas. That is why you and I are learning this. So, internal antara sannyasa, that is what is called as antara sannyasa. So, keep that in the mind. Many people have this question. Should I drop being a grihastha and take sannyasi to get atmanjanam? No. Krishna makes it very clear in the third chapter, in the second chapter. No need to drop your ashram. What you need is internal structuring of your mind. So, infrastructure is different. That's what he said. Okay. Then these are some simple things. Okay, we have seen this. Sadhanam and sadhyam are different in the two margas. This particular verse we have seen before is important when we try to understand. So the first wave of argument is over. The next series of arguments are textual analysis. They are basically interpretational skills. We see Shankaracharya is a master of interpretation. He correctly brings in the right mantras to explain to us why Atma Jnanam is different than karma. Next week, we will start from this 46 and 47, this particular 372 and 46. This will start. And this goes on till 62. There are the number of topics for this first portion is up to 62. I will try to see if I can complete this next week to wind up the section and then move forward to the it's almost 100 pages are there from 46 to 62. Like I said, you try to get the gist of all this. While you're doing this Bashyam, you can get lot of side information. See, today also we have discussed so many things. Three lokas, we talked about Grihasthas, we talked about so many side information which you get from doing this Bashyam. Bashyam study takes time, but it is very much in depth. And for the serious seekers, there is nothing like Bashyam. Because you will get the knowledge as desired as what is to be got from Bhagavad Gita. The central teaching of Jnanam, Atma Jnana, you will get for sure. Okay, so we'll stop here and continue next week from this 46th topic. Om Purnamadat Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachare Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.